this is the wrap up of the earthquake unit. So you should be in your notes packs. You're going to have to take a few notes here, mainly on, let's see, pages 56 and 57. That's going to be towards the end of the video. And yeah, so what we're going to talk about is just look at some pictures of damage that earthquakes can cause and prediction. Can we predict when an earthquake will occur? So most of the damage done by earthquakes is due to the actual shaking. And that's why we have tried to build more earthquake resistant buildings. Just like around here, we would build hurricane resistant buildings. The new World Trade Center was designed to withstand very high winds because of the increase in occurrence of strong hurricanes that we're getting in New York. So we can't predict exactly when and where an earthquake will occur, but by studying earthquakes, we can really come up with plans and determine where they're more likely to occur and prepare for them. All right. So this is a building that was destroyed in Armenia in December of 1988. And it was in Armenia was a province of the former Soviet Union. 1988 is around the time when the Soviet Union broke up. It was only a 6.8 magnitude earthquake. And between 25,000 and 50,000 people were killed and up to 130,000 people were injured. Why do you think there were so many people killed and so much damage to structures in this earthquake? I mean, it was only a 6.8. What do you think? I have it in red. Yeah, it was the Soviet Union. Do you think that they were following real strict building codes and enforcing them? Probably not. So, you can have a lower magnitude earthquake with a lot more casualties if the area is not built correctly. All right. All right. Now, one of the largest magnitude earthquakes ever was the 1964 Alaska earthquake. It was a 9.2, and this bridge just completely fell. That was called the $1 Million Bridge back then. This was a school that was destroyed in Alaska. Check out this fault here, and just for scale, this is a person over here. So the Alaska earthquake was crazy, crazy big. This school was torn apart. In October of 1989, there was the latest San Francisco earthquake. The epicenter was in a place called Loma Prieta, California. It was a magnitude 6.9. It was a Mercalli 9, and it caused billions in damage, but only 63 deaths in San Francisco and Oakland. Why? Why so many fewer deaths and almost the same magnitude earthquake as in Armenia? You got it. The stuff was built better, and we were better prepared. Although there was a lot of structural damage. So a lot of the brownstones in San Francisco were damaged. This part of a highway collapsed on itself. It's kind of like one of those double-decker highways. So they had to rebuild this to withstand earthquakes better. So new building codes were created to make sure that happened. This was an earthquake in New Zealand, Edgecombe, New Zealand, where a new fault was created, which is now called the Edgecombe Fault. And that was a 6.3 magnitude earthquake. We do have earthquakes in New York. So this was the epicenter of a magnitude 2.4 in January of 2001. And that's where the epicenter was. So there is a fault that runs through Manhattan. So we can get earthquakes around here, although generally they're smaller. All right. This was the seismogram that was recorded at that Lamont Doherty Observatory in Palisades, New York. That is our local seismograph station. And here you show the arrival of the first P wave and the arrival of the first S wave. Okay, so this was probably used to help locate that epicenter. Now, emergency preparedness. On pages 56 and 57, I would like you to copy these preparedness things to do down. All right. So scientists use earthquake data to identify places where earthquakes are likely to occur. Government authorities write emergency plans. The plans are for both before and after an earthquake strikes. So what can authorities do before an earthquake strikes to mitigate or reduce the damage and deaths that an earthquake may cause? The next slide is, what can citizens do before an earthquake strikes? You did a web quest the other day that went through that. The slide after that is, what can authorities plan for after an earthquake strikes to mitigate or reduce the damage and deaths that an earthquake may cause? And the fourth slide on page 57, the fourth one there, what can citizens plan for after an earthquake strikes? So I'm going to go through these bullets, and as I go through them, you're going to pause the video and write them down on those 4 slides. Or you could, no, you have to write them down. So What can authorities do? Write and enforce stricter building codes. Train first responders. Designate evacuation routes and emergency shelters that can be used in an emergency. Educate the public about earthquake safety and preparedness. Pause the video. Write these 4 down, please. Okay, next. What can citizens do before an earthquake strikes? I know you guys know this, but 4 things that citizens can do. Secure loose furniture like bookshelves and secure loose objects that could fall. Move heavier objects down. Know where the gas and water shutoffs are in your house. If there's an earthquake and there's a gas leak, you want to turn the gas off. Turn it off and get out. Or if you don't know where it is, just get out. If there's a water leak, you should know where the main water shutoff is in your house. Create an emergency kit. This is important. Anyone can do this. Any one of you can do this. You need non-perishable food, water, a first aid kit, flashlight, battery-powered radio, batteries, medicine, cash. Why do you need cash? Because if all the electricity's out and people only have their debit cards and you have cash, guess who's getting the toilet paper and water? You are. You got the cash, okay? And designate a family meeting place so everyone knows where to go afterwards. Pause this and write these down. Okay, next, what do authorities do after an earthquake strikes? Send in the first responders that they trained. Clear the evacuation route. Coordinate the power company response. Distribute food and water to citizens. Okay, so pause this and write these down. And if you can come up with something else, great, write it down. And finally, what can citizens plan for after an earthquake strikes? Stay calm and follow authorities' directions. Okay, help the neighbors, especially the elderly neighbors. Help them out. Turn off your gas main. That's dangerous. A lot of the damage from an earthquake comes from gas lines that go on fire afterwards. Get out and stay out of unstable structures. Don't go back in until you know it's safe. And go to your family meeting place. So pause this and write those down, please. Okay, and these are places in America where earthquakes are prevalent. So where are most of them? You got it, right on that plate boundary, okay, between the Juan de Fuca and the North American, the Juan de Fuca and the Pacific, and between the Pacific and the North American plate. But if you look at the map, look at this. There's earthquakes all over the place. Right here, that's that New Madrid earthquake in there. That's a New Madrid fault. So there's a lot of earthquakes that occur there too. So are we really, in New York, are we really worried about earthquakes? No, that is not the natural disaster that we're worried about. But can any of these preparedness plans, any of these, really, a lot of them, be applicable to any natural disaster? Yes. So what you can do is you can just think about, hey, what can I do as a citizen to prepare for a natural disaster that might affect my area? All right, that's what people do. All right, so that is earthquakes in a nutshell. And next up is geologic history. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.